Welcome to the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education's video series on educator evaluation. This video will provide information on Student Learning Objectives, SLOs. This video will also address how data generated from the Student Learning Objective process can be used to assess educator performance. Evidence of student growth is important to the educator evaluation process. In certain content areas and at particular grade levels, data from the state assessment may be used. However, approximately 70% of teachers instruct in areas where a state assessment is not available. One approach to measuring student growth, or the growth of groups of students, across a broad spectrum of subjects and grades, particularly in instances where state assessment data is not available, is the use of student learning objectives, more commonly called an SLO. An SLO is an academic goal representing the most important learning for students that is set prior to instruction. It is specific and measurable and aligned to the state's and district standards. In other words, an SLO is a specific learning outcome over a predetermined period of time that uses specific measures for tracking progress toward that outcome. SLOs use a wide variety of different options for assessing student learning. These may include projects, portfolios, performance tasks, common formative and summative tests, diagnostic pre- and post-tests, end-of-course exams, large-scale standardized tests, or state tests. While SLOs demonstrate great potential for ensuring the use of appropriate, rigorous, comparable measures of student learning as a part of the evaluation process, they also represent a promising strategy for improving instructional practice. This includes creating a potentially powerful link between professional learning and growth and the evaluation process. Additionally, the use of SLOs in assessing educator performance can bring a sense of ownership and authenticity to educators in the evaluation process. Because SLOs include the gathering of data, setting goals based on data, and then assessing whether or not those goals have been met, they actively involve teachers working collaboratively in strategies characteristic of effective instructional practice. The quality of the SLO is critical to ensuring that the target set for student learning is both realistic and attainable, and yet represents real growth. High quality is also critical for ensuring that data generated from the SLO be appropriate and relevant to the educator evaluation process. There are several key components to the design and use of high-quality and rigorous SLOs. High-quality SLOs clearly identify a student population engaged in the learning process and clearly state the particular learning content for that population. The SLO establishes a specific growth target, including the amount of time anticipated for students to achieve the target. The SLO articulates a rationale for why this target is considered essential learning for this particular population of students. The SLO offers a clear description of the instructional strategies to be used to facilitate the learning process and, perhaps most importantly, designates the particular method of assessment that will be used to determine the amount of progress achieved toward the learning target. To be clear, SLOs are not about improving students' performance on assessments. Rather, the SLO is used to gather data on the extent to which the objectives for student learning are being met. This requires intentional planning to make a determination of what evidence will satisfy the teacher and administrator that students have achieved the objective. There are important considerations that should be included when selecting a high-quality assessment. Both teacher and administrator must select and agree on assessments that are aligned to course content standards and district and/or state standards, are appropriately rigorous for the grade and/or content level, include questions requiring critical thinking, are organized in a way that is free from bias. Student growth data generated from the use of SLOs is one indicator used to determine the overall effectiveness of an educator. While traditionally the majority of data about an educator's performance was collected through classroom observation, other sources of data are appropriate for consideration. Data in an educator's personnel files and records provide evidence of appropriate licensing and credentials. Data collected through the analysis of the educator's professional growth plan can be used to determine the extent of ongoing learning and their ability to apply new professional learning to generate improvements in instruction and student learning. Data gathered through surveys of students, families, and colleagues can provide additional insight regarding performance. SLOs offer an additional and essential opportunity to consider impact on student growth as a necessary consideration of a teacher's overall effectiveness. Where and how student growth data is used in the evaluation process will depend on the particular model and process used by the district LEA. While the district LEA has the choice of what model and process they use to evaluate educator performance, student growth data must be a significant contributing factor in that determination. As an example, here is how this is accomplished in the state's Model Educator Evaluation System. In the state's model, the expectation of what the educator should know and be able to do is articulated across a professional continuum for each of the standards and quality indicators. The quality indicators are used to create growth guides that direct the improvement of the educator. The indicators combine evidence of an educator's commitment, practice, and their impact on student learning to constitute a determination of educator effectiveness. Measures of growth in student achievement are included as one of a set of balanced measures used to determine overall educator effect. Measures such as those provided through the use of SLOs provide evidence of impact. As the development and use of SLOs is inherent in effective instructional practice, all educators within a district, regardless of grade level or content, should be well versed in the development and use of SLOs for their area of instruction. These steps summarize the SLO development process. Following these steps will lead to developing, monitoring, and assessing rigorous, high-quality SLOs that can then be used to generate crucial student growth data to be incorporated into the educator's performance evaluation. You can find more information regarding the essential principles of effective evaluation and the state's new model educator evaluation system on the Office of Educator Quality's homepage at desi.mo.gov/EQ.